Hi guys, welcome to my channel once again. My name is Ayodeji and today I'll be taking you through a tutorial on how to build an API with Ruby on Rails. I call it the hello world of API. So grab your computers and let's get ready. So to start out, we'll be diving into our terminal, and what we'll do is make sure you have Rails and Ruby and Rails set up on your computer. If you don't have it set up, there's a link down below you can check out to set it up on your computer. So first thing, we do a Rails new. The name of our app will be quoted. We'll be creating an app to keep track of quotes that different people have made over time. So we'll be storing the name of the author and the saying. So we'll click enter to start to build up the boilerplate code. While this is building up, just a little bit of understanding of what an API is. An API is the acronym for Application Programming Interface, and it's basically the language in which is a standard by which computers communicate with each other. So it's the conversation computers have with each other. They determine what they can understand, and they determine what they give back to you. If in between there's something they do not understand, they throw an error to you to tell you that, hey, I do not understand what you're saying, so talk in the language that I understand. So basically an API is the way machines communicate with each other. And with our app set up, we can dive into the app. Let's cd into the directory that our app is, which is coded. And first thing we want to do is to open it up in Visual Studio to see what our app looks like at the moment. So it's basically a boilerplate code app, and we'll run it so that we can see. So we do a Rails S and we click enter to start up our server. Now our server is started. We can visit it at the address below, which is our local host and port 3000. We head onto our server, localhost 3000. Yay, we are on Rails. We can see that our application is up and running and it's actually working, and you can see this is the logs. Let's stop this server and do something else. So we'll use the Rails scaffold. Rails generates scaffold of quotes. What this will do is that it will create a controller, it will create the views and all supporting classes that our quote object will be needing. We have a saying, and then we have the author of the quote. Yeah, by default our fields are usually in strings, so we don't need to specify it anymore. If you want to specify a new one, you can do the column and then you put integer or string or anything you think you want as that field. But like we'll scaffold this, and yes, we have it scaffolded already. So if we go into our server, let's do a Rails S again and pop into our browser to see what has been done. We have a quotes route. And we see that we have an error because we haven't migrated our database. We need to create a database that our app will use. So we'll do a Rails db create and do a db migrate. So we create the database and also run all our migrations that will be needed. So our migrations has been created. From there we literally have an API already. We have an API up and running. So let's test our API. It creates a normal web app and also a web API for us. So it's like 2-in-1. If we check out our quoted app, now we'll see that we'll see our quote controller, and it's in here. It tells us that, hey, if you want to get the quotes view, or if you want to get the quotes as a JSON, you can just add the JSON behind your request. So for our API request, it responds to both web requests and API requests. So for our web requests, we just put the quotes without the JSON, and for our API request, we append the JSON behind it, and the trick is done. So we have the general method. So let's head on to our browser to test. Here we have our quote endpoint. We can create a new quote, and let's say he said nothing, and yeah, Ayodeji said it. We create a quote and we go back. You see our list of quotes. Let's create another one. He said nothing again, and same Ayodeji. And here we can see that we have 2 quotes, but we are testing out the API, right? So we'll head on to Postman to see what our APIs look like. So here I have localhost 3000 as the URL with quotes.json, and I want to check the quotes that are currently available. And you see, these are the 2 quotes I just created now, which are he said nothing and he said nothing again. So that's a get request to get all our quotes. If we want to create a new quote, we have a post request. And we have our route, which is quotes.json. We have our object here. Our object is quote, and it has 2 fields, which is saying and author. When we click send, oops, there was an error. Focus there. Oh yeah, before we can modify the data in the database, we'll need to disable authentication token that is usually required for every form submission. So for Rails has a security feature so that a random authentication token is usually generated by any form you create, so that the Rails server is sure that the form is coming from the app itself. So it usually verifies this before any submission, but since we are trying to use our API through it, if we are building a full-fledged API, we'll have other means of verifying the authenticity of the information that is being gotten. But now we just want to test, so we can skip verifying authenticity token for our request and try running our API again to see if it works. And here you can see I'm here again. If we check through our get request to see the we have all our APIs here. So if we want to edit a request that we've created earlier, let's say we are editing the 3rd request, you can see I'm modifying the URL here, and it's a put request. I'm here again. Let's change it to who cares, and we send. So now we've changed the 3rd item to who cares, and you can see it has a timestamp and it shows us a URL of the. If we run our get again, you can see it's been modified to who cares. So it's really easy to build an API out with Ruby on Rails, and there are a whole lot of boilerplate code that just with a few commands can be created on the fly. So you really don't need to stress out. If you're building your next API, you should definitely check out building it with Ruby on Rails, because it helps you save a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of energy. If you like this video and you learned anything new, please like the video and feel free to subscribe and share with your friends so that they can also learn something new. They can also learn the wonders of Ruby on Rails. Cheers. Have a good one, guys.